Hey everybody, my name is Darian Orvin. This is my first attempt at a podcast, and we are going over Steelfist Heated number 93. So I'm super excited for this event. We're going to just jump right into the card, starting with our first fight of the night, Cara Gutierrez from Cache Valley MMA versus Marina Inoue of UCTC. Unfortunately, the fight has been canceled. Karina's out with an injury, Cara is out with an injury, so we are really hoping that she heals up pretty quickly and hopefully makes a return maybe on the next card in August. So our first actual next fight of the night, Brittany Parsons from Wicked Ways Muay Thai taking on Jordan Ralston out of Reno Muay Thai. This is the second fight for Brittany Parsons, and she's taking on Jordan Ralston, who has 10 fights and has been fighting for over a decade, or nearly a decade. Ralston definitely looks like she prefers the stand-up in her competitions, so it'll be awesome to see how she does without having to worry about the takedowns and stuff like that. She's gone all 3 rounds, and so has Brittany, so they definitely have the capabilities to go all 3 rounds. Brittany is coming off of a dominant victory from last February, where she was just super clean and technical and picked her shots, and so she's taking a big step up in competition, coming from her debut up to someone who has, 10 years or so of experience and training. Brittany, she had one of the best debuts that I had seen, so I'm excited to see how she comes up and shows up against someone who has that much experience. I believe that she can handle it, but I also think that Jordan is going to be able to put on her best performance with her striking, and it's going to be a really great fight. All right, we're moving on to the next one. Dylan Despain from Factum and Montana Murhoff from Foley's MMA. I know Factum and Foley's just by their boxing programs mostly. I actually trained at Factum for quite a few years, and Sean Cross, the boxing coach there, is still one of my main coaches. And Foley's, I always see them around. So Factum does also have a really good Muay Thai program, and just by knowing Dave Foley and knowing the guys there, I'm expecting them to have a really great Muay Thai program as well. I actually went and sparred with Dylan Despain just a couple hours ago. Kind of turned into more of an exhibition match, but it was still a ton of fun. And, he's got definitely his own skill set that I'm excited to see him put out. Moving on to the next one, we got Skylar Bernasconi versus Brandon Boseman. I hope I said your name right, Skylar, but if not, you can beat me up for it later. Skylar came out with his MMA debut last February and got a pretty quick KO victory. So now he is stepping into a kickboxing match against Brandon Boseman, who actually just won his own kickboxing match last March. So both these guys only have one fight. Skylar with a first-round finish, Brandon Boseman with a decision. Skylar, we know he has finishing power because he was able to finish out Dominic Williams really quick. And Brandon Boseman, he has that range and he has that technical ability working with the guys over at One Hit. I really love watching the guys from One Hit and their striking. It's just super on balance. So Skylar's going to have to pressure in and close that gap. And I'm sure Brandon learned from his previous fight and had made the adjustments he needs to be able to keep the range and, keep Skylar at bay. So this will be a super exciting, who can impose their will better. All right, we are moving on to the next fight. This is going to be Muay Thai. So now we're moving from kickboxing to Muay Thai. Ryan Wickstrom versus Evan Jenkins. 2 debuters with no social media, so I wasn't able to find out anything about these guys. Ryan, well, I did find a page for Ryan. He's a former football player, so he has a little bit of an athletic background. It could help, but it could also be meaningless. It's not totally necessary. So this is just an exciting one to watch out for, seeing 2 guys who we don't have any information about. And finally, moving on to MMA, we got Brian Miller from Fight City versus Eusebio Salas of Cache Valley. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm just going to say Salas for the rest of this duration. Brian Miller's coming off of a victory of submission over Danny Soriano, where he was able to just show his jiu-jitsu skills. I believe he's a purple belt. I could be wrong about that. And Salas is coming off of a TKO loss in a kickboxing match. So this is a striker versus grappler match. But at the same time, Brian has some really good striking as well. He gives me a lot of troubles with his range and his teeps and stuff like that. I think he's going to be the taller fighter than Eusebio, but, Salas is going to have to kind of close that range and make it a dogfight. That's where I believe he's going to find the most success, but also be ready to try and negate Brian's grappling game. I don't think that Salas has much of a grappling, but I haven't seen anything. I just know because of his Muay Thai fights that he's had and his kickboxing matches that he definitely prefers to stand up. So that one is also going to be a lot of fun. Moving on to our first heavyweight fight of the night, Patrick McKinney from Agima taking on Ezekiel Kikino from Lion's Pride. Patrick McKinney is coming off of a decision loss to Fiji and to Mark Gonzalez, so two, really skilled heavyweights who are super popular with lots of experience. So Patrick McKinney has been coming in as the rookie, I guess, in those past two matches. And now for his third fight, he is finally the veteran coming in against Ezekiel Kikino, who I actually don't know much about, but seeing posts on Facebook and stuff like that, he definitely has a little bit of hype around him. So it'll be awesome to see how he comes out and he performs against somebody who has as much heavyweight experience, against high-level guys with Mark Gonzalez and Fiji, and see how he holds up against those, top-ranked guys. Moving on to our next fight, Dominic Williams versus Javier Munoz Perez. Quick little story about Dominic. I had my debut in December of 2021. Up until that point, me and Dominic were just friends on Facebook, and I have never actually met him. He came to my fight after watching me get beat up. He came and told me that he wants to go and do that. And he signed up for a gym. He went and trained, and then he went and got beat up. He did exactly as he said. But, honestly, for how many people always say they want to do MMA, he actually bit down and went and did it. So it's super cool. And I've got, incredible respect for him for actually going through and doing that. And even after a loss, continuing to train and get better. The Dominic that I have sparred and trained with was not the Dominic that we saw show up to his fight. I'm not saying that had he shown up properly, he would have beaten Skyler, because I'm sure, everybody's felt it. Whoop, knocked over my microphone. I'm sure that Skyler felt it as well. The pressure, the lights, and the fact that you're fighting another man in your underwear, it all hits you, and it's time to go, and you're going to just kind of forget everything that you know. But just saying, don't write off Dominic because of his last performance. He is actually a very skilled fighter, so I'm super happy and I'm super excited to see how he's going to go out and show off his skills this time. At the same time, Javier has the scariest finish that I've seen in person, really, either through amateur or professionals, with the first round head slam over Kenneth Alley. So, the amount of strength that you have to pick someone up and just sweep them down like that, it's going to be a bit of a problem for Dom dealing with that strength, but we'll have to see, once again, who can impose their will better. Moving on, we got Sivaveni Lakai from the Echo of the Rockies versus Sean Berry, who's independent. Sean Berry, independent with no social media, couldn't find anything about him, but coming in against Lakai from Echo of the Rockies, which also Echo of the Rockies is the coolest gym name. Coming in against somebody who has a kickboxing draw and an MMA win. So he has lots of experience, and he ended up finishing that last fight, or finishing his MMA fight, with ground and pound. So he has the wrestling, he did the kickboxing, so we know he has the stand-up. Sean Berry coming in with we not knowing anything about him. If he believes he's able to take this challenge and step up, cool. It'll be cool to see him out there as well. Lakai is, they're fighting at 195 pounds, but Lakai definitely hits like a heavyweight. He's a really big guy. And, he's showed a little bit of like Taekwondo or something in his kickboxing match. So he's got some, dexterity with his kicks. Moving on to the fight I am most excited for, as it is mine, Darian Orvin from the Pit versus Russell Sosa from Fight City. Everybody who knows me and Russell has been telling me how excited they are for this fight. We both just have heavy forward pressure, lots of power, heavy output, and so, they're all just super excited, and I am as well. Russell has had 2 wars against guys who I consider to be 2 of the best strikers in Utah, or amateur strikers at least, at best amateur strikers. So I want to see how I stack up comparatively to those 2 guys. So this is going to be a super fun fight. It could be a 3-round war, and that's we're both incredibly tough, so that's probably the most likely scenario. Moving on, after us, we got Chow Wang, who's independent, versus Michael Trunzo from One Hit. Trunzo's actually coming off of a loss to Tyler Call, which is it's not a loss to be upset about. Tyler Call is pretty legit. So, having a loss with that and getting that experience, that's not really a loss to hang your head over. And then Chow Wang is coming off of a 1.5 year long layoff. I see him time to time just doing security at the events, and I saw him about a year ago at a boxing match. He was at least a year ago staying active, getting boxing and stuff in like that, so I don't know if maybe over the past 1.5 years he's been doing more boxing or wrestling or kickboxing or what. But, his 2 wins that he does have are over verbal submission, so if you're going to go in there and fight him, you got to be really mentally tough and really prepared. I believe Michael Trunzo is going to be, and this is going to be just another super exciting fight of 2 guys who have pretty good experience against some high-level dudes. Then we got Ben McNeil from the Pit, my homie, and then David Garcia from the Institute of Mixed Martial Arts. Last-minute opponent change for Ben. He's now taking on David Garcia. Ben's also coming off of a 1.5 year, I believe about an 18-month layoff. But I'm glad to have him back, beating me up in the training room every day. Ben has some super high-level wrestling, and David Garcia is actually coming off of a decision loss to John Smith, who also has really good wrestling. So, the lessons that David probably had learned from that fight, he's going to be bringing into this fight against Ben, and hopefully keeping it on the stand-up. Ben being out for so long, I'm excited to see him back and see what improvements he's going to bring to the cage. Hopefully be able to see some of that striking and see how he stands up with somebody who has victories or who has wins due to strikes. So this will be super great. Striker versus grappler, but I'm thinking a little more striking in this fight. Moving on to the fight that I am most excited for besides my own, Kawhi Thompson versus Beck Shields. After my draw against Kawhi, he's gone out and been on a tear. Wins over Andrew Heaton and Tyler Harden, who's actually like a super legit win, and Hector Martinez, who has tons of experience. So with him getting that draw against me and that win over Tyler Harden, he is, he's right up there among some of the best featherweights. Going up against one of the higher-ranked fighters from Colorado, Beck Shields, who has super good jiu-jitsu. He has like a flying triangle submission or something crazy like that, something I've never even thought of attempting. I don't want to break my neck. And so, Kawhi he's super hard to take down. Someone that's short and that strong, he is super strong. It's hard to take him down and hard to hold him down and submit him, but Beck only needs a minute to snatch up one of those submissions. So, it's going to be Kawhi in those ground exchanges is going to have to be perfect. And he's going against Beck, who is 6'2". So he is super freaking tall. I'm like 5'11", and I think Tyler Harden is 6'1", so he's taller than any opponent that Kawhi has fought so far. Kawhi hasn't had a problem closing out that range and, imposing his will in those closer exchanges. So it'll be cool to see if Beck is able to utilize his range and keep Kawhi away better than me and Tyler were able to. All right, we're moving on to finally the main event. Sep Pua from the Institute of Mixed Martial Arts taking on Josh Brown from Jeet Kune Do. I don't know if Jeet Kune Do is the name of a gym or if that's like his fight style. Jeet Kune Do is Bruce Lee's philosophy of fighting, where you take everything that works from all the other martial arts and kind of apply them into your own form, your own style, which is basically what MMA ends up being. So these guys both have MMA experience. And then Sepp Pua, I believe, is the owner of the Institute of Mixed Martial Arts, and is part of that Pua boxing program. And so, we know he has super good, clean boxing. He's coming off of 2 wins over Brandon Grundy, who's just a pretty high-level wrestler. So I'm kind of expecting more of a stand-up fight here. Josh even has wins by knockout, so this will be super exciting to see these 2 guys who are primarily, at least as far as I'm aware, strikers coming in, and heavyweight striking matches are always really exciting. I believe that's everything, so I will see you all July 7th unless I die. And if you have any feedback for how this podcast went, let me know. Just my first time, so learning all together. I will see you all later.